main topics here. LaMelo Ball broke his wrist in his rookie year, broke his right ankle last season, and has had, by this point, 4 to 5 sprains, whether you consider them all different sprains, related sprains because of weakness. I'm not even sure. The scariest thing about LaMelo Ball, and you actually said this earlier, is that his breaks and sprains, especially like they look like nothing, right? He hits the floor and it looks like any other time someone's fallen over. And this is like, is it really simple? Can some players just have weak bones? Like, is that just a thing that can happen? Could that be the case with LaMelo?
Absolutely. If you have somebody that's having these recurring issues, you might order a metabolic panel. What's their diet look like? What's their, bone density? Those kinds of things. Particularly for a guy that's had multiple fractures, is some underlying cause? And that's kind of the thing is once you have one or two things, let's start looking at some other stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if I've already done that with LaMelo and done some evaluating and looking at is there something that we can be doing to help offset? Is there a supplement? Can we up the supplements for this or that are going to help offset some of those issues that are bugging him?
How effective are some of those treatments in improving, like you say, bone density? Are we talking like minimal percentage impact, or can it be actually quite receptive?
I would say because these guys are young, because generally speaking, their bodies are a little bit more resilient, they generally respond pretty well. Now it does take some commitment to doing that kind of, and some guys it's hard to do. Asking a guy to change his diet, asking a guy to do these certain things can be problematic. It's just, they're kids, right? Like I know what I was eating when I was 25 years old, and I would be ashamed of myself if I, you know what I mean? Like, and really, you do everything you can to put these guys in the position to succeed. And I honestly think Charlotte is doing everything they can to put these guys in the position to succeed. This is not, I'm just not going to be the one that paints this brush that Joe Sharp's the problem here. I really do think they're doing everything with what they have at their disposal and doing everything they can to ensure the health of these players.
Yeah. We have to talk about what the Hornets fans called ankle brace gate with LaMelo Ball, where he came into the season training camp saying he was wearing ankle braces. Then after he re-sprained his ankle, it was revealed that actually he's not been wearing ankle braces because he says he can't play in them. He can't plant his feet. This has become a bit of a divisive topic. I guess firstly, can you talk about what impact do ankle braces have on ankle support? Like what research is there out there? How important is this? Some people will say they don't matter at all. Some people say LaMelo Ball's not taking his basketball career seriously. Can you give us some expert insight into this field?
Well, my personal opinion on braces is I'd like you to rehab and get to the point where you don't need a brace, right? Your body is going to be the best brace. It's biomechanically designed to help itself. Now, sometimes it's almost like a placebo effect. Just having the brace on there makes the person feel a little bit more comfortable. Great. Sounds good. Let's roll with it. There are so many different designs out there now in terms of ankle braces, and you can find ones that are great for specific injuries and things like that, fit in the shoe. Great. It really just depends on the individual and what they want. The research is a little bit mixed. Some research says it's really, really helpful. Others say it's, again, not as helpful as you would think. I do think there is some degree of comfort that you just need to find. If you want to play in ankle braces, even if your ankles are 100% great, go for it. If you're more comfortable taping, okay, let's get you taped. But ideally, you want to be able to go out there and trust that your body's going to hold up. Now, again, if over time you've had multiple sprains and that's just not going to work, okay, let's get you in a brace that is going to help. It's going to supplement in some degree, whether that is through proprioceptive receptors firing, so your body's more aware of what's going on, or simply an actual, more of a hard brace that's going to, provide stability. But the ankle's tough like that. That's one reason why there's such a wide variety of shoes out there in terms of basketball shoes. There for a couple seasons, I tried tracking shoes, and man, it was a headache because so many different models, so many different brands. Guys would change shoes at half. They'd go from low top to high top. Every player just about probably has their own orthotic in. So it was hard to really draw a whole lot of conclusion from some of the shoe data. And I think you're kind of see something very similar with the braces.
Interesting. And it was revealed earlier this year that LaMelo Ball still has hardware within his ankle following his ankle surgery from this past season. again, could you explain a little bit about what that hardware could be? Will that have to be taken out at some point? And he talked a little bit about how that affects him planting his feet at times during this season. And he's still suffering from ankle soreness now, even after the sprain. And could that soreness be related to the hardware, or could that be related to his latest sprain? I know I've thrown about 4 different questions at you there, Jeff, but yes,
I'll do my best. So the hardware is just surgical. It could be anything from a screw and a plate to stabilize a certain area. They can suture across the bone if it was a high ankle sprain to help close kind of those 2 lower leg bones, that space in between. Sometimes that hardware is left in. Sometimes if it can become symptomatic or problematic, they can take it out. It really just depends kind of how the individual responds. As far as what's going on, I really did think it was interesting how the injury report recently for LaMelo switched. It went from ankle soreness to ankle tendinopathy. And so that indicates it would easily be the stabilizers. So he sprained the ligaments, and then the stabilizing structures, the tendons of the muscles that help stabilize the ligament, were also irritated in the process. And those might take a little bit longer. And that a tendinopathy indicates there's potentially some tendon damage there, whether that's a mild strain or some tendonitis, something that is lingering. And it's unsurprising, given the number of injuries that this guy's gone through, that his stabilizers might be easily irritated if the ankle is forced into inversion or eversion. And so I like the fact that they've been a little more open calling it tendinopathy instead of just soreness, because that does indicate, at least we know, it's not just this vague thing. We know it's potentially, or it is muscle related, and that's something that you can work on improving.
And then looking big picture at LaMelo Ball's injury, looking forward, what can the team do? Obviously, he's had multiple ankle injuries. What can the team do? What are the options available to LaMelo or to the team? Is it just the typical keep strengthening the muscles around the ankle? Is that kind of the only option available? Or we saw, obviously, Steph Curry was someone who had a lot of ankle issues early in his career and then has since essentially avoided them after after a surgery. Do you think it's possible that, again, there is more that needs to be done there, or is it just more about kind of maintaining and rehabbing and strengthening at this point?
Well, the first thing you're going to target is the ankle itself, right? You're going to look at, okay, what do we have any swelling? Do we have any issues with the ankle itself? Is the integrity of the ankle good? What's our range of motion? That's the one people overlook a lot. Is range of motion, especially in dorsiflexion, is huge for stability of the ankle. So if you can have full range of motion, that's going to be a better indicator and a good indicator of overall stability, right? So not just the strength of the muscles themselves. And then you work your way up. That's what you saw happen with Steph. Like, they realized he had some issues along his kinetic chain. So if you think of everything like a chain link, if you have a weak link, it's going to be problematic down. It's going to affect the entire chain. And they actually went all the way up to his core strength and realized he was having some strength in that area, some strength deficits in that area that were causing problems in his lower extremities. So I'm sure they're doing that with LaMelo, doing some kind of, biomechanical analysis, kinetic chain analysis, to see if there's a problem somewhere else that is potentially contributing to the ankle injury. Sometimes you just sprain your ankle because you came down on somebody, but other times maybe you're consistently rolling it because there's some underlying issue somewhere along the kinetic chain.
And for LaMelo Ball specifically, I mean, I watch every game. Every time he goes for a layup, he takes 5 or 6 staggering steps and ends up like falling into a cameraman or falling into a crowd. And like some players, I noticed this. You watch, like they go for the layup at full speed, but they're able to come down and stop. And LaMelo seems to, like you say, maybe it is connected to that core strength where he is not able to like stop his momentum. He always seems to kind of like very much veer off after making a move in one direction, and that stopping ability is something that he really struggles with.
Yeah, and it's one reason, we talk about with a guy like Luka Doncic, right? Like, his ability to stop, it makes him valuable. His ability to decelerate, you get that motion going forward. It's a two-way street, and people don't think about that. It's not just the ability to go fast. It's how are your brakes? What do your brakes look like when they're stopping? And then if you do come down awkwardly, do you know how to fall? And as stupid as that sounds, like some guys just don't know how to fall. And there have been cases in multiple professional sports, football being a big one, that guys got to learn how to fall and how to protect themselves when they're taken down. Less so in basketball, but we can talk about, your landing mechanics and how you come down off, are you coming down on 2 feet, 1 feet, if someone's underneath you, what are you doing, to potentially avoid the contact, and not necessarily avoid the contact from shying away from getting a foul, but okay, I have had contact. What's that going to look like as I'm coming down? Am I going to be aware of what's going on, or am I just, going to be privy to whatever ever happens? And that can be problematic as well.